Hey, it's Emma Chamberlain. I designed these new glasses for Warby Parker, and I basically can't take them off. Like, I'm showering in them and sleeping in them. They're just that good. Go see them all at warbyparker.com. And you know what? Have a good day too. Okay? All right? Bye.
Well, hello, friends. We're starting Pod Mavericks Mavs Party. It is our secondary post-game show where if you have any Mavs takes you would like to get off your chest, this is the place to do it. I have posted a StreamYard link in the YouTube show. If you would like to click into that and join and tell me what you think about this game or really where the Mavs are right now, I would love to talk about it with you for a few minutes. Though I do understand after two Eastern Conference games that were a little bit blah in terms of things to talk about, there might not be as much that anyone has to say. And if that's the case, I'll just wrap up today's show and go about my night, and we can talk again on Tuesday after the Oklahoma City Thunder game. So I'm trying to think if there's anything, just to give folks a minute to kind of check in and let me know what they're thinking about tonight. If there's anything that we really didn't hit on that I found interesting or good or bad in relation to that game. PJ Washington was probably the one that we didn't touch on. His 13 points and 5 rebounds were kind of, I would say, his worst performance and since he came back from injury. And that's fine because I would like him to have a bad game before he goes and lights Oklahoma City on fire. And he plays very well against Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. So that should be fun to see if he can shake off that rust following a night where he was 0 for 6 from 3 after being rather scorching for some time. So he's 0 for 6 from 3. That meant he's 4 for 6 from 2-point range, which is pretty impressive. There were some other interesting games around the NBA tonight. The Denver Nuggets lost despite Nikola Jokic putting up a career high. Oklahoma City held off New Orleans. I'm sure that game was actually not as close as it looks, despite the fact that Brandon Ingram got hurt, and I'm sure they had to recruit some ball boys from the stands. The Pistons beat the Knicks, which is hilarious. Memphis outlasted Boston, which we love to see. The Heat just beat the crap out of Phoenix. Love to see that too. Hey, my man, Mr. Green, calling from down under. What's going on, man?
Hey, Kirk. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How's your day going so far?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just had to suffer through that game like we did the other day. But, man, Pirtle's good, eh?
He's frustrating. He's the kind of guy you wouldn't like to play against in a pickup game, I'll tell you that.
Man, he's underrated. He's got some skills. Darko seems to love, running his offense through him. He does a good job, man. He's a good passer. Not a great matchup for Lively. I agree with what your man said. Not a great matchup because he's just a little, and having Olynyk on that team as well. I mean, it's not a bad team. It's not a bad team. But gee whiz, I mean, it's hard to keep the foot clamped down on the throat, and I think that's basically what we watched for the last quarter and a bit.
That's what I think too. I was amazed to find out Kidd carried 4 timeouts in the final few minutes where it just, you would love to see him be a little more proactive, but I have to respect his intent in teaching and getting these guys to understand that they have to sometimes pull themselves out of their own mess.
Yeah. I mean, it was good to see Omax get a bit of run tonight, but not a hell of a lot of encouraging viewing. He still doesn't do anything for me. I think he was a waste of a pick, to be perfectly honest with you. But It was interesting to see that Grimes didn't really get off tonight. I put it down to matchups a fair bit. I think his defense is really good, man. Like Grimes is really good at getting over screens, and someone put up a stat today saying he's like the 7th in the NBA at getting around screens. His navigation's really good. Grady Dick's going to be a good player. He's got a nice shot on him, but yeah, just a tough watch, man. I mean, you can just feel, like I said it the other day, just the inevitability of we were just going to steamroll it to a win, but then just getting it, to an uncomfortable situation. But you see what happens, man. Kyrie just gets it, fakes that he's going to go all the way to the rim, and then just pulls up at the half loop and just drops one in on him. And,
it's the most lethal Mavericks shot.
Oh yeah.
Since like when Jason Terry was doing it. I mean, Dirk occasionally stopped and popped, and he was more of Dirk was so methodical, but the lightning element of Kyrie doing that is so fun.
He stoops down so low, and the defender's like, he is definitely going to lay this up, and then he just stops and just rises and just floats there, and then just drops it in the basket. So it was great to see him be super aggressive out of the gate tonight. I think he had 14 in the first quarter, and man, he unbelievable. Just that pull up three in transition when it was basically 4-on-1. It was Kyrie and there was 4 defenders back, and he just stopped and just drained it. I thought this is going to be one of those nights, and yeah, it was good to see that the two lads almost had 30 each. Kyrie had 29, but bring on OKC, man. I want a real game. We've had 2 shitters back to back. And I know the boys are going to be pumped. And yeah, PJ's probably just powering up for it now. He's just a little bit of glow coming off his shoulders before he explodes against OKC. And I'm glad it's at OKC as well. I'm really looking forward to that because
it'll be a great measuring stick game.
Yeah, definitely.
And Thunder fans are all like 14 fucking years old and have never seen a basketball game before that happened before 2016. And it's just, I follow a whole bunch of them, and they're like, we're just clearly the best team in the West. Like, we're clearly the best team in the West. Like, we didn't make it out of the second round, so go fuck yourselves. Like, come talk to me when you've made a finals or Western Conference finals or done anything. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has won fewer playoff games than Jason Tatum has won playoff series. Go away. I like that team, but it's like pride cometh before the fall. Like I would hate, like, there's an element of me as a Mavs fan where I have grown past the desire for anyone else that doesn't watch the team to comment on how they play, because I don't give a shit. I watch them. I know how they play. I love arguing with people who also watch them. And there's just like the Oklahoma Cities of the world. They want to be told how pretty and special they are. Fuck that. I want to win games.
Yeah. Look, I was pretty, I was pretty harsh on their moves in the off season, and Hardenstein's pretty much. I won't say he's proved me wrong because he hasn't been available for a lot of the games, but he has fit in quite well. And I'm looking forward to see what our boys do, because I don't think he's got the physicality. I think if our centers play physical, I don't think he can match it. And they can't play through him. Not that they want to, but they can't play through him. So I think our centers will be a lot more impactful than they were today. I mean, look, both of them had a decent game. Gaff had a decent game, and so did Lively, but decent is where I would call it. They didn't stand out. They weren't super impactful. But I'm looking forward to testing. I'm just spewing for Chet. I really, really am spewing to, that he's not available to play, because they would be a different team with him.
Oh my God. Like he is such a difficult player to play against. He's so good. And I think he changes the math in this series, but I also don't think he plays this season. Like the way, if you were to describe his injury, did you ever use Chat GPT or anything like that?
No.
So it's AI, but if you were to ask the AI, you were to type in, tell me what this injury means, it quite literally responds with, it is common for people in car crashes. Like he broke his hip. Like, you and I are old. Hips are scary as shit. Like, I don't so to hear a young man like breaking his hip effectively is frightening. I hope he's able to get it together.
Have you ever had gout, Kirk?
No, the rich man's disease. Oh man, that sounds painful.
Dude, absolutely indescribable. I suffer from it. And believe it or not, I think it's pastries that do it for me. So I've got to lay off the pies and the sausage rolls.
I'm not laughing at you, but that's funny.
Hey, I'm just keeping it real. But I become a complete invalid. And I'm not downplaying this. A complete invalid. Can't walk. The pain is, without the medication, the pain is you're ready to cut your fucking leg off. But man, I couldn't imagine fracturing a hip. But in saying that, he's built to get a fractured hip.
Yes, him and Lively both play so athletically. Like, I worry Lively about not the same kind of injuries, but like Lively's just going to have like, what the hell was that kind of injuries the whole time he plays, I think.
Well, to me, he looks pretty solid, but, you know, Chet's straight into that KP mold, and we've seen how KP's career's panned out. Like,
just over time, a guy that skinny is just has challenges. I think that's fair to say.
And you know, like you could imagine going up against an Andre Drummond, and Drummond boxes you out quite hard into your hip area. You know what I mean? It doesn't surprise me that these skinny leg guys have all these lower limb injuries, and unfortunately, I think Chet and Wemby are going to be the same, because coaches are going to know that. And this is what I like about Lively against Chet. Coaches are going to know that if you have the physical prowess to overpower a finesse 7-footer, it really puts them at a massive disadvantage. It's those that are afraid to get up in them that I think that they excel against, you know, or they just hang back and shoot 35-foot fucking three-pointers. I managed to watch the last few minutes of the Celtics game, and gee whiz, man, KP doesn't mind throwing them up. But, yeah, that's all he's doing. He wasn't making any. He was just fucking throwing them up. So it was good to see the Celtics choke one out. I'll have to message me old man later on and just remind him about that loss in their home court. But, yeah, man, roll on AKC, Kirk. Like I said, sick of watching these fucking ho-hum, dro-drum games. Want to see some poundage. Want to see some stakes basketball.
We're gonna get a stressful game on Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining. Hope to see you then, okay?
Nice to be number 2.
All right. Talk soon.
See you, mate.
All right. Nico's coming up next. Nico, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Made my way to Toronto for the game. It was fun.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I live in upstate New York, so it's the closest venue that you can see them. So even when the Raptors suck, it's worth the trip.
Sure. Man, I bet. How was the crowd there? What was that like?
Dead until that last few minutes when they came close, and the Grady Dick shot that 3 ball and they came within 5, and that's when they erupted for a minute. And then, you know, the Mavs clamped down and everything was fine.
Well, what were your takeaways from seeing them live? I have not gotten to go see the team live. Where were you sitting in relation to the court?
I was up in the rafters.
Yeah, that's with the real people, though. So what'd you think, though?
So great arena, actually, first time here. Kind of like cozy, even from like the very, very top rows. You can see a lot, and you feel really close. Sort of better than the American Airlines Center in that respect, I'd say.
So like you're kind of. So would you describe it as like you're above the action? Because American Airlines Center, I feel like when you're up high, you're away from everything.
You're much closer to the action than you are at American Airlines, even at the very top rows. And it seems like the players on the court are closer, and you sort of feel more engaged with the action, even though you're about as far away from it as you can possibly be physically. But the crowd was meh. But the game for the crowd was also not something that you would want to expend a ton of energy for. A lot of Mavs fans, a lot of Luka jerseys, a lot of Kyrie jerseys. Kyrie actually stayed behind and signed jerseys for like 10 minutes after his interview. Yeah, it was really, really nice to see. Omex surprised me. A lot of frenetic energy, positive positive contributions. I was amazed to see that. And other than that, nice game. I think actually my take from the game being there is that everybody just wanted to get to Oklahoma City. That everybody was like saving energy and just trying to get when the three ball was going in, it was fine. When it stopped going in, they didn't actually try to expend a whole ton more energy apart from let's get out of here and win.
Which, I mean, you wish, like, for a big picture perspective, you don't want to see some of the minutes totals that these guys had tonight. Like Luka playing 38 when he probably could have played 32 kind of sucks. But they're also staring down the barrel of a pretty decent break, whether they win or lose on Tuesday. So,
well, I mean, they've got 2 days until the next game, and then they got a couple of days before the next game, right? And so I think Kidd wouldn't have put Luka back in if it didn't start. If it continued being 20 points difference, but then it became 5, and it was like, yeah, let's get a win out of here, and you're gonna play 6 more minutes, and we're gonna close this professionally, not with a semi-pro team.
I'll take it. That's pretty awesome, getting to go to the game. I love when people call after games. You're the second person in a row to call from the game that the Mavericks were at on the road. I love this. Second show in a row.
Yeah, and again, my first time here, but I'll come back again. This is
excellent.
Great venue and relatively close for where I live. All right.
That's pretty great. All right.
Thanks, Kirk.
Glad to have you on. Talk soon.
Bye.
Okay. I think what happens now? Is I close up the show and go hang out with my wife a little bit. I don't think I'm going to have any other shows between now and the Tuesday game. I am not sure, though. There's an interesting. I've been during this whole show. I've been kind of tweeting back and forth with somebody, an NBA fan with a whole bunch of numbers after his name, and he's recommending and sort of lamenting, I think, to an extent, that the Mavs media sphere doesn't do a great job with narrative push in relation to Luka, and I don't really disagree, but it's not really something I'm good at. Whereas my friend Jason Gallagher, he of the Young Man in the Three podcast, the Old Man in the Three, kind of whatever the name of their network is a big time Luka fan, and he's not a media member in the classic sense, but he is in media. Whereas he is sort of a narrative story pusher, and I think he and I don't know, I might try to see if I can get him on Monday to talk a little bit more about narrative and where we go from here, because the Luka element of this season, 24 games now, 16-8. I don't know where you'd put Luka. Like, the NBA ladder had him as 8th, which is hilarious, and then puts Jokic and Giannis as like 1 and 2. And it's like, you can't. Last year the narrative was Luka can't be MVP because of their place in the standings. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't know how to talk about double standards, because I start to go down a path and then I get pissed off, and I don't think me being mad every show serves anyone. But I am quite good at it, and I am mad. It's not a bit. My favorite part is when people accuse me of of doing bits on this, and it's like, no, I am an angry fan. It's the whole fucking reason I do this. Curse. Okay, been fun. Everybody be good. We'll talk soon, and go Mavs.